Hi viewers, welcome back to the show. Now, fertility is something that affects millions of people worldwide. Whether you are planning to expand your family or perhaps you face challenges along the way, well, we're here to shed some light on how modern science is making the dream of parenthood possible for more and more people every day.
More children, more fortune, maybe, our past belief, but it's really interesting that you mentioned to expand our
Yes.
family number. Anyway, to delve into the topic, joining us today is obstetrician and gynecologist Mira Mirnawati. So hello doc, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
And I'm so delighted to join the show today.
Right, so Dr. Mira has been here for a couple of times.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
a
your
couple
first
of
time,
times,
right?
yeah.
So we'll be talking about the treatment of, dealing with infertility. So what are the most common modern fertility treatments available today that we earlier talked about IVF,
Yeah.
but I believe there are other, treatments available out there.
Yeah, I think if we bring into this topic, this is such an interesting topic because like many people are curious about what can they do if they are dealing with infertility.
Yeah.
As you know that 1 in 6 people worldwide, they are having difficulty to conceive.
Oh.
It's like almost 17.5 million worldwide. So it's
Okay.
like such a huge number.
1 in 6
One in
people.
6, yeah, 1 in 6 people, they are having difficulties in conceiving, something like that. And it means that, like you said before, like millions of people worldwide are affected with infertility. So basically we will think like, what can I do so
Yeah.
that I can get pregnant, so that I can get the treatment. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss
Yeah,
tonight,
yeah,
right? So this is very important. Basically, for the fertility treatments, we can divide into first like medications. Yeah, it's like fertility medication or hormonal medication, as we all know. And then the second one is assisted reproductive technology or assisted conception, such as, like you mentioned before, IVF or in vitro fertilization and intrauterine insemination.
I see.
And then last but not least, sometimes you also need to do a surgical procedure before you proceed, whether with natural conception or with assisted one.
I see. So there's a hormonal and there's an assisted
Yeah.
conceivement therapy.
Therapy.
And you were mentioning about IVF.
IVF.
And what's the other one?
Intrauterine
Insemination.
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 Okay. Which one is more effective actually?
Yeah, actually, IVF holding the highest possibility of getting pregnant because up to like 50 until 60%, even with the new technology like pre-implantation genetic testing, the success rate will high as 80%.
I see.
Right. So let's talk more about the technology. I mean, so how has fertility treatments evolved in recent years? Like, well, we know there's so many options now, right? But can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, as you know that the first IVF baby was born in England in 1978. So now IVF has been more than 40 years, yeah, in the treatment.
Yeah.
And the fertility technology has evolved like very rapidly during the last 40 years, yeah. Not only about the technology using in IVF, which will enhance the success rates, but also there are several issues like you can do a freezing for your egg, your sperm, or your embryo, which then later you can use for, we call it fertility preservation. Okay. The fertility preservation is can be social preservation or because of medical condition.
I see.
Suppose like there are like thousands of people diagnosed with cancer, and then during their reproductive years, during their childbearing age, then they might want to have like children in the future.
Yeah.
So we use this technology for, we call it like cryopreservation. It's like we freeze whether it's the egg,
Yeah,
sperm,
or the sperm.
or the ovarian tissue in order so that you will be able to have children in your later life.
This is like what Luna Maya did, right?
Yeah, it's-
Freezing
it's a social
her
freezing.
egg
Yeah, it's
cell,
social
right?
freezing.
Social
But we
freezing.
can also have like the medical freezing.
Yeah.
Suppose that you are undergoing treatment for cancer like chemotherapy, radiotherapy with
Yeah.
it will like impair your fertility.
Yeah, but it's not going to be put in your fridge, right? Because you could mistaken to see it as an
Yeah, no.
ice,
It's called
you know.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not put in the fridge, definitely.
It's not an
Definitely
ice
not.
block.
But
Right,
if
anyway.
we're talking about IVF alone, when did Indonesia start doing IVF?
In Indonesia, the first IVF baby is 1980s
Oh,
in
okay.
Harapan Kita Hospital.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
okay.
that's
The first IVF
the start of it, right? So before we dive deeper into the topic, right?
Okay.
So what are the differences between IVF and insemination? You earlier mentioned that IVF, we do it outside of
Outside,
the
yeah.
uterus, while insemination is done inside the
At the
uterus.
uterus. So the basic difference between insemination and IVF is that in insemination, the fertilization occurs inside the body of the woman.
Okay.
But for IVF, so IVF actually stands for in vitro fertilization. In vitro
Okay.
means laboratory, or we call it like tube baby, maybe bayi
Bayi tabung,
yeah. Because like at that time, the journalists thought that the baby was made in a test tube in the laboratory.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's in petri dish.
I see.
Okay, so like they put the egg there, and then and also the sperm in a petri dish, and then the sperm will try to fertilize the egg. But
Okay.
because it is in laboratory, so the journalists at that time thought that it might be in the test tube. That's why they call it like
They call
bayi
it
tabung, tube
Bayi
baby.
tabung. That's why.
Yeah, so that's why the
hilarious.
difference is like for insemination, the fertilization occur in vivo, means inside the body. But for IVF, the fertilization happened in the
Right.
laboratory.
And you mentioned that IVF is more effective than the
more effective because it can
the other one.
It can treat the barrier within like for intrauterine insemination. Suppose like for intrauterine insemination, you need to have a healthy fallopian tubes, right? So if you have a blocked tube, like both of your tube was blocked, or you have it's unhealthy,
Yeah.
or you have like severe endometriosis, then we need to help this sperm to fertilize the egg.
I see.
Well, I mean, for IVF alone, is it suitable for anyone, for everyone, or are there some factors that you need to take care of, or you need to think about which one is more suitable for you?
Yeah.
I think that's a very important question, because like people think like, which kind of treatment that I should choose?
Yeah.
Basically, if you want to choose the fertility treatments, it can depend first on your age.
Ah,
Okay,
okay.
whether you are like less than 35 years old,
Yeah.
you are over 35, or even you are over 40 years old, right? And the second one is not only your age, but the infertility diagnosis that you have, or the medical conditions that makes you difficult to conceive.
I see.
So it depends on this two type of things
Yeah.
that we, of course, like everyone's cases is very
Different.
unique,
Different, yeah.
and the treatment should be tailored to fit their specific needs.
There's
Yeah.
no one size fits all.
Yeah,
in
there's
this
no one
case.
size fits all.
Right,
But,
but-
basically, the how to choose the treatment, we can like depend on the age and the kind of medical conditions or infertility diagnosis that you.
Right. Well, you mentioned that 1 out of 6 people in the world are
Yeah.
infertile.
Yeah.
Does that mean that this is based from an article that I read
Yeah.
previously, that male or man above 39 years old, they tend to be infertile, or if they have a baby through their partner, then the baby will not be perfectly formed, perfectly fit to born.
Well, thank you for bringing that up because
Yeah.
this is like a new topic also for fertility because some people think that age only affect women's fertility.
Yeah.
While in fact, like recent studies showing that fertility both declines over time in women and men.
Yeah.
But for women, age is the single major or biggest factor affecting their fertility and also their ability to conceive and have a healthy baby.
I see.
Yeah, but for men, it's like age affecting their fertility, but to a lesser degree. To a lesser degree. So if a woman's fertility starts to decline slowly at the age of 30, and then at the age of 35, so the decline will speed up. Yeah, and then by the age of 40, they will fall very rapidly. Yeah, okay. But for men, the decline in the fertility will start around 40 until 45.
40 to
So it is
45.
not advised to have children during that period of age or what?
Not it's not advised, but you should be aware that that you might be dealing with infertility if the male age is like more than 40. And also, like you mentioned before, there's a recent study showing that the children of fathers at age 40 or over have 5 times of chance of having autism spectrum disorder than the children of the father age like 30 or less.
I see. So if you want to have kid, plan it early.
And even the children also have like more inclination to have schizophrenia or other mental disorders later in life.
Wow.
I have a question. So a lot of people, when they get married, of course, like the family would be like, hurry up and get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, how long should a couple wait or try to conceive by themselves naturally before trying all these treatments?
Okay, this is also like something like very important, and I'd like to raise awareness about this one, because like most people think that as long as they still have their period, then they will be able to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So this is like misconceptions actually. So how quickly you should like seek for help depends on first the woman's age, and the second one is how long have you been trying to conceive, or in Indonesia how long have you been married? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you like if you are a woman and then you are like less than 35-year old and then you've been trying to conceive for 12 months, then you should seek for help. Or if you are over 35 and then you've been trying to conceive for 6 months,
Yeah.
then you should seek immediately.
I
But
see.
if you get married at 40,
Yeah.
then if you don't get pregnant by 3 months, then you should seek for help.
Yeah.
Or
See?
maybe if you plan to get married later in life,
Later.
then
Yeah.
you can get your egg cell or sperm frozen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
to be preserved
That's one
in
of the
later.
options today. Like
Yeah.
we already mentioned about the evolution for fertility treatments. It's not only about the technology using in IVF that can enhance the chances of conception or the pregnancy, but also this field actually has been expanded into the preservation, even if it's social preservation or medical preservation, and also maybe in like some other countries, third-party reproduction.
I see. So we'll be taking a break, ladies, but after the break, I will be asking you, Doc, about if someone chooses IVF or advised to take insemination therapy or program, what are the do's and don'ts? Maybe we're going to be talking about that later, so don't go anywhere.